Ben Affleck is done staying silent. After years of rumors and speculation, he's finally exposing the shocking truth behind his divorce from Jennifer Garner, and all signs point to Blake Lively. That's right. The whispers that have surrounded Blake and Ben since their time on the town are no longer just Hollywood gossip. Ben has finally admitted that his marriage to Jennifer Garner began falling apart the moment he cast Blake in the 2010 film. And here's where it gets even messier. This wasn't just a random casting decision. Blake fought tooth and nail for this role, and now the reason is becoming crystal clear.
I really had to fight for the role. She's written to be a 37-year-old Oxycontin-addicted mother living in Charlestown, Boston. So it was very different than anything I had ever done, and I was 21. I'm sure everybody that read it connected to it emotionally because it was written so beautifully, and you could understand why she made the terrible decisions that she makes, the pain that she feels. And, you know, I just thought I really want to, selfishly, I really want to portray this woman. And so I fought really hard to get an audition because I was so wrong for it. They didn't want to see me. And I took a train out there. I auditioned with him for 10 minutes and then took a train right back. It was like 10 hours worth of travel for 10 minutes. But when I finished my audition, he said, "What part of Boston are you from?" And I said, "Oh, that's the best thing you could ever say to me." I didn't even know parts of Boston, so I didn't even know what to make up. But then after that, I had to read with him again because it was still a stretch, you know, yeah. Still a 21-year-old girl and they're reading for it. But he did change it and adapt it, make it a little younger so that I could play this part.
Insiders reveal that Blake auditioned multiple times for the role of Krista Coughlin, yet producers weren't convinced she was the right fit. Even Blake herself once admitted that the casting process was grueling, but despite initial doubts, she landed the role. Why? Sources claim that Ben personally pushed for her to be cast, and Jennifer wasn't happy about it. But what really happened? Behind the scenes? How did Jennifer uncover the truth? And why is Ben only speaking out now, years after his divorce? Stay tuned, because this Hollywood scandal is just getting started. But here's where things get really wild. Ben didn't just agree to cast Blake, he pushed hard for her to land the role, even when producers weren't entirely convinced. Now, why would a seasoned actor and director go against his team's better judgment to champion a relatively unproven actress? The answer is becoming clearer by the day. Sources close to Ben reveal that Blake turned on the charm during auditions. Hard. One insider even admitted their chemistry was instant. It was so intense that at one point we joked they should just get a room. At the time, Ben and Jennifer Garner were supposed to be happily married, raising their 3 young children together. Their 5th wedding anniversary was just around the corner, but behind closed doors, their marriage was already showing signs of strain, and Blake's arrival on set was like a wrecking ball, smashing through whatever stability they had left. Ben reportedly confessed to close friends that he was instantly drawn to Blake, her energy, her ambition, the way she seemed to hang on to his every word. She made him feel like the most important man in the room, something he later admitted had been missing from his marriage for a long time. But here's the thing, Jennifer Garner wasn't born yesterday. She had been by Ben's side long enough to know his patterns. The moment he cast 23-year-old Blake Lively as his on-screen love interest, and also took on the role of director, Jennifer's alarm bells started ringing. And honestly, who could blame her? Ben was 38 years old at the time, a full 15 years older than Blake, and suddenly, he started adding more intimate scenes between their characters. According to sources, Jennifer tried to play it cool at first. She even visited the set a few times with their kids, doing her best to keep things normal. But the moment she saw the way Ben and Blake looked at each other, she knew it was anything but professional, and the most heartbreaking part? Jennifer was trying desperately to keep her family together, while Blake was allegedly making moves on her husband. One source revealed that Jennifer would find excuses to call Ben during filming, just to check in. But every time, Ben would rush her off the phone, claiming he was in the middle of a scene. But the real smoking gun. One day, Jennifer picked up Ben's phone and saw messages from Blake. And these weren't script-related texts. These messages were far more personal. Jennifer confronted Ben immediately, but he denied everything. He brushed it off, saying that he and Blake were just getting into character and that Jennifer had nothing to worry about. But as filming continued, so did the cracks in their marriage. Jennifer reportedly confided in friends, admitting that Ben was becoming more distant by the day. He spent more time on set than at home, and when he was home, it was like his mind was somewhere else entirely. And now, years later, Ben is finally admitting what Jennifer suspected all along. Blake was the real catalyst behind their divorce. Ben couldn't stop talking about Blake. Every conversation somehow circled back to Blake's brilliant take on a scene or her unique perspective on the character. Jennifer tried to brush it off, but deep down, she knew something wasn't right. The tension at home was becoming unbearable. And then, one day, Jennifer showed up on set unannounced, and what she saw shattered her. Ben and Blake were huddled in a corner, whispering in what looked like an intensely personal conversation. But the moment they saw Jennifer, they immediately stopped talking. The discomfort in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. According to a crew member who witnessed the moment, Jennifer's eyes welled up with tears before she turned and rushed off the set. But if filming wasn't already painful enough, what followed was even worse. The town's press tour turned into Jennifer Garner's worst nightmare. Ben and Blake's undeniable chemistry was now on full display. Even interviewers couldn't help but notice. They were caught sharing knowing glances, finishing each other's sentences, and laughing at inside jokes nobody else understood. And then, just when things couldn't possibly get worse, they did. Right. Around this time, Blake suddenly broke up with her long-term boyfriend, Gossip Girl co-star Penn Badgley. Coincidence? Jennifer didn't think so. The media went wild. Paparazzi snapped photo after photo of Ben and Blake looking cozy at red carpet, premieres, and press junkets. Their body language said it all. Even if they weren't officially together, something was definitely happening behind the scenes. Insiders whispered that Ben looked more alive, more animated with Blake than he had in years with Jennifer. Jennifer, meanwhile, tried to keep up appearances, putting on a brave face in public. But behind closed doors, she was falling apart. The fights at home became more frequent, more explosive. The tension was unbearable. According to a close friend, Jennifer finally confronted Ben, asking him point blank, "Are you having an affair with Blake?" Ben denied anything physical, but he couldn't deny the emotional connection, and that admission alone was devastating. Jennifer realized she was losing her husband, even if not physically, then emotionally. But here's where things get really twisted. This exact same situation had happened before. Back in 2003, Ben was engaged to Jennifer Lopez, flaunting a $2.5 million pink diamond ring. But then, on the set of Daredevil, he met Jennifer Garner, and within months, Ben broke off his engagement to J.Lo and started dating Jennifer Garner. The timeline was suspicious then, and now, history was repeating itself. One source put it best: Ben isn't the type of person to let his wife get in the way of finding his next wife, if you know what I mean. Or as they say, how you get them is how you lose them. Jennifer Garner was now experiencing the same pain she may have unknowingly caused Jennifer Lopez years earlier. And here's the kicker: Ben knew it too. In a rare moment of honesty, he reportedly admitted to a friend that he had a pattern of falling for his co-stars while already in committed relationships. But self-awareness didn't stop the damage, and the biggest proof that something serious happened between Ben and Blake? It came years later. In 2014, Ben was offered a huge movie role, one that could have been a career game-changer. But there was just one problem. His co-star would have been Ryan Reynolds, and Jennifer flat-out refused to let Ben take the role. Why? Because that would mean he'd have to interact with Blake Lively again, and Jennifer was never going to let that happen. Years later, the impact of Ben Affleck and Blake Lively's rumored affair was still haunting Jennifer Garner. The proof? When Ben was offered a role in a film alongside Ryan Reynolds in 2014, Jennifer put her foot down. She absolutely forbade him from taking it. Why? Because it meant he'd have to interact with Blake again. That alone speaks volumes. The very idea of being in the same room as Blake Lively was unbearable for Jennifer, a reaction that only comes from someone who has been deeply hurt. Ben reportedly fought hard for the role, seeing it as a major career opportunity, but in the end, he respected Jennifer's wishes. And insiders claim that was his silent way of admitting the damage he had caused her during his time with Blake. While Blake moved on, first to Leonardo DiCaprio, and then to Ryan Reynolds, the cracks in Ben and Jennifer's marriage never healed. The trust was shattered, and Ben spiraled into self-destructive habits, drinking, gambling, and eventually, the infamous nanny scandal that became the final straw. Their divorce was officially finalized in 2018, but those close to the couple say the real breaking point had happened years earlier, on the set of The Town. Everything that followed, the fights, the scandals, the ultimate divorce, was just the fallout of a marriage that had been fundamentally broken by Ben's obsession with Blake, and even today, Jennifer refuses to be anywhere near Blake Lively. When she worked with Ryan Reynolds on The Atom Project and later reprised her role as Elektra in Deadpool and Wolverine, fans noticed one major detail. She never appeared in any press events with Blake. It's clear, Jennifer still wants nothing to do with the woman she believes helped destroy her marriage. But here's the real bombshell. Ben's confession also cast a shadow on Blake Lively's entire Hollywood reputation. This wasn't just a one-time thing. In fact, history repeated itself almost exactly just months after The Town wrapped. Blake was cast alongside Ryan Reynolds in Green Lantern, while Ryan was still married to Scarlett Johansson. And just like before, on-set sources claimed Blake and Ryan got very close. Crew members whispered about their late-night hotel meetups, and the chemistry between them was undeniable. Scarlett? She didn't even attend the Green Lantern premiere. A month later, she and Ryan announced their divorce, and shortly after, Blake and Ryan were suddenly Hollywood's hottest new couple. See the pattern? Time and time again, Blake has been linked to her married or committed co-stars, yet somehow she always walks away with her America's sweetheart image intact, while the women she allegedly hurt are left to pick up the pieces, and she's not as innocent as she seems. Ben isn't the only actor who's had issues with Blake Lively. Several of her former co-stars have spoken about her difficult on-set behavior, with some even refusing to work with her again. One of the most telling moments? When Armie Hammer, from Leonardo DiCaprio, who is known for dating young, beautiful actresses, to Ryan Reynolds, who was already an established star, Blake has always positioned herself in relationships that could elevate her career. And it's worked. She's gone from a CW actress to one of Hollywood's most beloved leading ladies, but at what cost? Jennifer Garner may have lost her marriage, and Scarlett Johansson may have walked away from her relationship, but Blake? She walked away with a Hollywood A-lister husband and a golden reputation. But for how long? Because if history has shown us anything, it's that patterns repeat themselves. And sooner or later, the truth always comes out. But perhaps the most damning testimony comes from someone who worked on Gossip Girl for all 6 seasons. Rosella Rigo, who was a stand-in on the show, didn't hold back when describing her experience with Blake. And I quote, "She was horrendous to work with." Rigo didn't stop there. She even shared some shocking behind-the-scenes details, claiming that Blake would burp and fart right in the middle of the set, acting as if everyone should feel lucky to be subjected to it. Can you imagine? A lead actress behaving that way? On set? It left many crew members uncomfortable, yet Blake reportedly showed no regard for how it affected those around her. And it wasn't just crew members who had issues with her. Blake's co-star, Leighton Meester, reportedly had such a strained relationship with her that they avoided each other whenever possible. According to sources, these two weren't swapping friendship bracelets. They were dodging each other like it was a sport. The tension between them became so intense that even during promotional events, they kept their distance, making it painfully obvious that their on-screen friendship did not extend off-screen. The animosity was so bad that when Leighton married Adam Brody, Blake wasn't even invited to the wedding. And let's be honest, Hollywood weddings are notorious for including just about everyone, so for Blake to be left off the guest list, that speaks volumes. But Blake's problems don't end there. Ben Affleck's decision to finally come clean about Blake's role in his divorce couldn't have come at a worse time for her. She's already dealing with major backlash from her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, a case that has turned public perception against her in a way she probably never anticipated. And now, many believe Ben was inspired to speak out after seeing Baldoni stand up to Blake's alleged controlling behavior. Meanwhile, Jennifer Garner has moved on gracefully and is thriving. She's in a long-term relationship with businessman John Miller, remains deeply devoted to her children, and has successfully revitalized her acting career. Her dignified silence throughout the years has only made the public sympathize with her more. Jennifer has taken the high road time and time again, never resorting to petty drama or public feuds. But Blake? Her carefully crafted America's sweetheart image is crumbling fast. Between the Baldoni lawsuit, Ben's shocking revelations, and former colleagues exposing the same troubling pattern of behavior, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The sweet, girl-next-door persona she projected was nothing more than a carefully constructed facade. So there you have it. Ben Affleck's bombshell confession about how Blake Lively was the real catalyst behind his divorce from Jennifer Garner. From the suspicious casting to the undeniable on-set chemistry to Jennifer's refusal to let Ben work with Ryan Reynolds, the evidence paints a damning picture of a Hollywood homewrecker who's finally being exposed. What do you think about Ben's revelations? Are you Team Jennifer or Team Blake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest Hollywood tea. Because trust us, this drama is far from over.